Welcome to episode 2 of the Steel Birds and Dogs podcast. I'm Myles, joined by Lee, and the man behind the cam, Jacob Bruh.
Let's get into it. We got episode 2 officially. We got some good stuff to talk about today. We're going to start off in Baltimore, Maryland. They signed Jessie Minter, former defensive charger or defensive coordinator for the Chargers. They signed him to a 5-year contract. The numbers aren't out there yet, but my immediate reaction is I'm excited. I'm ready for it. I know last episode I said I was leaning offense. I still, in my heart, am leaning offense, but I see why they went defense. The defense overall has just been kind of atrocious. I'll get into the numbers a little bit later, but it hasn't just been feared. They haven't been able to get stops. They've started off the year wonky, whether it's at the beginning of the year, whether it's at the end of the year. And it felt like in the Zach Orr era of defense in Baltimore, they were kind of just turning to Colin Hamilton and asking him to save us, whether they put him in the box, whether they were putting him back in center field and asking him to play over top because there was a bunch of miscommunication. There's a bunch of busted coverages. And it just wasn't right. And I felt like the Ravens wanted to reestablish what it meant to be truly a Raven. When you think about Ravens as a whole, as a franchise, you're thinking about defense. You're thinking about Ray Lewis and T. Suggs, and you're thinking about Ed Reed. All these guys that just hit hard. They play fast. They play strong. And I feel like Jessie Minter will embody that. He will embrace that. And he will bring that back. This kind of feels like a recorrection of what went wrong with letting Mike Macdonald leave. And I know in hindsight, you weren't gonna fire John Harbaugh after that season. You went I think it was 14-3. You were the number one seed back in 2023, and you harbored the number one defense in the NFL. But you also had a really good offense, and you just fell short. So Mike Macdonald was inevitably going to walk, and he went on his own accord. He could have re-signed and waited a couple more years, but he won a head coaching job, which he rightfully deserved. In that time. But the opportunity that we had this offseason with having Minter be our head coach, I think it was more than written. Destiny, it was written in stars. It was meant to be. He was in the building for 4 years. He did a great job wherever he's been with Georgia State, with Vanderbilt, with Michigan, with LA. He really turned defenses around. And when you hear his name, people love him. People like to talk about him. You hear guys like Travis Kelce and Derwin James, and you hear about all these former head coaches that coach with him and around him. They just say he knows ball, he knows his X and O's, and he gets the best out of his guys. And I think the interviews that he had with the Ravens, what he's been able to put on tape and not on tape, and what he's been able to do with the talent that he's had around him, whether it's at Michigan State at the college level, whether it's with LA and at the pro level, I think he's got what it takes. Do you have any thoughts on it before I keep ripping into it?
Hey, man, I don't believe in him. That's all I got to say.
Is that a good faith or a bad faith statement?
It's in bad faith,
Okay. So I got some numbers right here when it comes to Zach Orr versus Jessie Minter, what they were able to do. I'm just going to cover last year's numbers. But when we had Zach Orr as our defensive coordinator, we were total defense, we were 24th. Pass defense, we were 10th. Scoring defense, we were 18th. Rush defense, we were 10th. So we were pretty good rush defense, but we had a pretty good front, and we've always been able to stop the run pretty well. But red zone defense, we were 6th, which is pretty good. Third down defense, 11th, pretty good. But yards per game was 24th, and defensive EPA, which I know everyone loves EPA, we were 20th. So overall, we weren't harboring good defenses. But when you compare that to Jessie Minter's defense, total defense, they were top 5. Pass defense, they were 5th. Rush defense, they were 8th. Scoring defense, 9th. Red zone defense, 4th. Third down defense, 5th. Yards per game, 5th. And then defensive EPA, they were top 7. So that means every major statistical stat that defenses care about, they were top 7 everywhere. And they were better at everything across the board than anything that Zach Orr ever produced. So immediately when you bring Jessie Minter in the building, you're getting a better defense. And I think the big draw with Jessie Minter is that he was able to get so much talent out of his guys, and they didn't have to spend money. Outside of Derwin James, the contracts that they were dealt with and the talent level that they had, it just wasn't anything crazy. They were able to get guys like Deion Henley, who's turned into a really good ball player, at a Pro Bowl level and high flying. You got guys like St. Juice, who was being crucified in Washington.
So,
People, he was getting talked about like Daniel Falele was getting talked about, just getting burnt every week. Couldn't cover, couldn't stick to guys, and he was playing really good ball with the Chargers. I think what Minter preaches and what he practices, he's able to get the best out of everybody, and he's able to put that in terms of production, and he's able to put that in terms of just in sheer embodiment of what it means to play defense. And guys listen to him. I saw a clip of Travis Kelce talking on his podcast, saying how Minter literally brought out a blitz on third down one time, and they never saw it on tape, and it got Mahomes because he was like, "What the hell did I just get hit with?" And I think when you have a guy who can call X's and O's and be schematically at an advantage that we've never had before, I love it. Guys are saying that this is a John Harbaugh replica, and even though he's from the Harbaugh tree, he's literally nothing like John Harbaugh. He literally calls his own plays. He has X's and O's. I've never seen John Harbaugh have a play call sheet. Maybe he literally had a play call sheet in like week 16, and everyone was like, "What the hell is John Harbaugh doing?" Because he doesn't call plays. So I feel like schematically we're giving ourselves the best advantage. I felt like times where we would go into games like the Chiefs, for example, or the Bills, and we were just schematically outmatched. They were just calling better plays. They were better coached, and we were at a disadvantage for that alone. And I think going into this hiring, I think the front office for the Ravens were looking about what their success was in previous years under the Lamar era, and when it came to leaning towards offense and defense, the best year was 2023, and that's when we had our best defensive coordinator in the building with Mike McDonald.
glad he's gone.
Yeah, I need that demon back. He's never coming back. New era. But yeah, I think they were looking at it like our best chance is having a schematic advantage against guys, having X's and O's on our side, and I felt like if you pair Lamar with an elite defense, that's going to take you the furthest you're going to go. And even though the idea of offense seems cool, I'm happy. I'm excited. The big overall question theme is how he fills out the staff. I know he has a scheduled meeting, or not scheduled meeting, but press conference. He has a scheduled press conference next week where reporters get to ask him questions. I'm assuming he's going to have a couple hires by then. The big question is OC and who he brings in. I don't really have a clue, honestly.
Matt Canada. I heard he's You gotta cut that. You gotta cut that.
No, keep it in. No Matt Canada name will ever be brought on this podcast. But no, in all seriousness, I don't know who he's bringing in. There's been pairings and there's been reports of Cliff Kingsbury. Joe Brady's in the mix. I think Davis Webb still has a pretty good shot. I know he's doing playoff football right now, so you can't really talk to him.
He'll be done. He'll be done on Monday.
Not if I pick correctly. But regardless, I think OC, obviously with Lamar, he's produced MVP levels seasons, and he's won MVP with two separate coordinators, one of them being Greg Roman, and his best receiver being Willie Snead. So the sky's the limit in Baltimore right now. I'm excited. I'm happy. One of my other gripes before we move off the topic is if it were to be Cliff Kingsbury, which I'm not writing in stone yet, how he ends up marrying the run game with the play action, especially when you have a guy like Derrick Henry as your running back. Derrick Henry's best out of I formation, and we all know Cliff Kingsbury offenses aren't under center; they're out of shotgun.
Lamar's best out of gun as well.
Yeah. So it would be questions to be had, but I think one more thing that I love about Minter is that he runs 81% zone, and he rarely runs man, and he loves middle open.
I don't know if that helps Nate Wiggins though.
I think the technique could marriage well. Again, if you have St. Juice, being playing good ball, I think the talent that you have in the secondary, we don't need to spend another draft pick on corners. Not high draft pick. If I see another first or second round corner drafted for the Ravens just for our pass rush to be miserable, I'm going to have issues. But you also have guys like maybe Khalil Mack joining Minter because he's a free agent. I think that would be interesting, to say the least. I don't think we bring back Owe, but I'd be happy to bring back Owe. But that's a different topic for a different day. All in all, I'm excited for this new era in Baltimore. I'm elated. I can't wait for the draft to come around and what the staff looks like. If I were to give it a grade from F to A, I give it a solid A. He was one of the most coveted guys in the coaching process or coaching carousel. And I think it's a safe pick, but I think it's the right pick.
All right, well, I guess on to the Steelers, man. It's pretty much a foregone conclusion. It will be Chris Shula
Unless
barring something wild.
Mike
If
McCarthy.
it was going to be Mike McCarthy, we would have given him a contract already. If it was going to be Anthony Weaver or Brian Flores, they would have already been on the team. We're waiting for Chris Shula, and for a reason, he likely brings Nate Shieldhouse with him. That's exactly what the team needs. Unfortunately, he'll only probably be here for 1 year. But I guess the more overarching question becomes, the Steelers don't work like any other teams. Like, we're very cash poor, so our coaching staffs are very different. We don't have a pass game coordinator. We don't have a run game coordinator. We don't have an assistant head coach, and we don't have a game management coach or situational football coordinator. Essentially, those positions are bundled into like one. So Mike Tomlin was doing a lot, but he obviously wasn't calling plays or anything of that nature, but he was doing a lot in terms of like game management, and he wasn't very good at it. But shout out to Mike T. We miss you. I say that to say Chris Shula immediately makes his team much better. He's a lot of too high, a lot of zone. You want your linebackers to cover, and you want to play the run. And I think that really fits Peyton Wilson. It fits our young guys. It fits Derek Harmon's skill sets. Patrick Queen is a cut candidate, and he's likely gone. I think you saved $17 million against the cap. And I will say the Rooneys typically front load the guarantees of contracts, so that helps you on the back end in terms of flexibility with needing to cut or move off of players and not really have that much of a cap hit. But beyond that, I mean, he's worked with Jalen Ramsey before. He's pretty much been every defensive coaching position you can be. He was a linebackers coach. He was a pass game coordinator and defensive backs coach, a pass rush coordinator, and now he's a defensive coordinator, of course. So Shula's the guy, pending something crazy and horrible and awful, and I'm excited for it. I think it'll be an A+ hire. The only issue with Shieldhouse is obviously you probably get him for 1 year, but I mean that's a home run for the coaching staff. I do wonder. My biggest questions will be how many guys do the Rooneys allow him to bring on? Because obviously, we're pretty cash poor, so we'll see if we end up creating a pass game coordinator position or if, Shieldhouse just has to kind of do everything himself. So I'm very excited.
I will say, bring defense back to the AFC North. I miss defense. We got the Steelers, one of the highest paid defenses in the league, and we got the Ravens defense, who has just been atrocious over the past few years. Shout out the Browns though with Jacob. We don't talk about their offense over there, but their defenses have been elite, and we know what the Bengals defense looks like. So bring defense back to the North. I want hard hitting football. I want smack you in your face football, and I feel like Minter officially there in Baltimore, and Chris Shula, who's inevitably probably going to be there. I will be excited to bring back hard-nosed AFC North football for the time being. I will shoot you a question, though, and get your thoughts on it. Do you think you can run the risk of maybe going Shieldhouse as your head coach, only for the simple fact that you want to keep him around, and because if you give him the OC job, like you're saying, it might be a one and done, and he'll get another covenant job somewhere else, and then maybe go somewhere else with DC, or you're riding the ship with Shula, and just whatever volatile turnover happens, it happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a fair question, and that discourse you see a lot online. I just feel like Shula is obviously the more tenured when it comes to coaching NFL players. Mm-hmm. Shieldhouse has never called plays at the NFL level. Obviously, he's a great offensive mind, and he's highly regarded in the league, but that's a big leap that I don't necessarily know will pay off, because I guess on the flip side, you hire Shieldhouse as your head coach. Shula's not going to make a lateral move to go from the Rams to Pittsburgh as a DC.
Right.
Like, he's going for the promotion. So you hired Shieldhouse, you probably don't get Shula. You definitely don't get Shula. And then maybe you're looking at Raheem Morris, maybe. It just changes the dynamic of who you hire. Mm-hmm. And I think you're better off, taking the gamble of likely only having him for 1 year and then trusting or banking on Shula's connections to get you more people, which is why I preferred Shula over Brian Flores for his connections to the McVay tree.
I feel like if you're a Steelers fan, you're excited for the fact that a tree can finally blossom, whoever you hire, because because obviously Mike Tomlin didn't do that, and I felt like John did do that for a majority, but it's a new era, and I'm excited to see who Minter brings in. But
Greg Roman.
Yeah, no. That might be worse than the Matt Canada name they just threw out.
You don't know what I went through.
I hate Canada. Greg Roman.
You have no idea what I went through.
I don't think you understand what I went through.
No, we didn't have a 400-yard game for 2 years, Lee. 2 years.
That feels like a Steelers stat more than a Matt Canada stat.
The game he left against Cincinnati, the next day, Kenny Pickett throws for like 300. We rush for 100. I will cut him a little slack, though. He was coaching Kenny Pickett. But it was horrible what I was seeing on my screen every Sunday. I had to look forward to that. Greg
Greg Lawrence had 2 elite offenses and 2 elite
Did
quarterbacks.
Lamar get an MVP with him?
That was Lamar stat.
Get out of here.
Anyway, moving on. We're moving on to championship Sunday predictions. We got 4 teams left in the playoff dance. We're going to start with Pat's Broncos. We got the New England Patriots going into Denver without Bo Nix. That is the big name. That is sad. That is catastrophic to hear if you're a Denver Broncos fan. Sorry, all my Denver Broncos fans. But I'll start off with you. Who you got?
Hold on. Jared Stidham's passing line is 203. Is that not the freest under? Okay. But I guess back to the game. You think he's throwing for more than 203? I think we just fundamentally disagree on how we see this game going. But
well, you tell us your pick then.
The Patriots are 4.5 point favorites. I do think they win. I think they cover. I mean, when you talk about keys to victory, there's just much more for New England than there is for Denver, in my opinion. For the Patriots, you need to win on early downs. You need Jared Stidham passing the ball beyond the line of scrimmage. You have to rally and tackle. You can't have R.J. Harvey breaking tackles, or you can't let these bubble screens go for explosives. And they've been good at doing that this year. For the Broncos, I mean, you got to get a lot of yards after catch. You're probably going to be living behind the line of scrimmage a lot in terms of your passing game. Your defense is going to have to carry you. You're going to need to force turnovers on Drake May, which he's prone to fumbling the ball sometimes. He can do that.
Yeah.
You have to run the ball efficiently, and you have to capitalize on any turnover, any short fields, and you got to be efficient in the red zone as well. I don't think you can live by kicking field goals because the Patriots will find a way to score. And Mac Hollins might be coming back, which is a pretty underrated thing. I think the Patriots cover. I think they handle Denver in Denver. I think pretty easily, honestly.
You are surely mistaken, my friend. I got Broncos money line. If you got rent and you want to double it, if you want to triple it, throw it on Broncos money line. I don't know. I think this.
You're gonna be homeless doing that.
No, I think the
You're gonna
Broncos.
get evicted.
The Broncos team was built centric around their defense. I think Vance Joseph and that defense has led them to where they are. They haven't been riding on the offense and Bo Nix. Even though Bo Nix was playing really good ball,
He's playing amazing.
he was playing amazing, and he outdueled Josh Allen in the playoff game. Not many guys can say
He
that.
did not do that.
I think he outdueled him. He played
did
cleaner
not do that.
football.
Cleaner football.
And the throws that he was making, pretty elite throws.
Yeah, the PI. I mean, I don't think he made like a big time throw that game, in my opinion.
That last touchdown pass, the 30-yard corner
Bo
route
Nix has been
on his head. Mink, was
Was that the little Jordan Humphrey one?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's my point.
But I will say, Bo Nix has been the comeback kid. He's been clutch in the fourth quarter. He's been a dog. We're not going to sit here and act like Josh Allen didn't single-handedly will his team back into the game that he almost lost them.
That's
Well,
the
that
point.
he did lose
Okay, my point.
Sorry for interrupting. Back to what you were saying.
But yeah,
team.
they're a defensive team. They relied on defense all year. The defense, the pass rush, the corners. We're not going to say Riley Moss's name, but they've been here for a reason. The defense has been there for a reason. And the Broncos offense, when you think about it, it's been a lot of checkdowns. It's been a lot of running. They might get J.K. Dobbins back.
They won't. He's out.
Oh, he's out. He was overruled. Oh, my bad. But I think regardless, I think the loss of Bo Nix isn't as detrimental as it would be for a team losing a guy like that is more QB centric. And I think in your own home, I think if you just played turnover free football, which is a hard ass this playoffs for some reason, every team's turning the ball over. I think they can get the job done. I think that pass rush can really disrupt what the Patriots got going on, especially with Will Campbell. I think he's a good tackle, but he's been having trouble this playoffs. He's been losing a lot of reps. He's gone against really elite pass rushes, so that's no slight on him going against the Chargers pass rush with Khalil Mack and Tulu and Adafe Owe with Minter's defense, with the Texans defense. We don't even got to speak about them and their pass rush. So he's had a tall task, but he hasn't won the battles as much as you would like him to. And I think with one more elite pass rush that he has to go against, I think it could really get to them and disrupt Drake May to where the pocket gets a little messy. He might get a little loose with the football. He might throw a bad pick. And I think the Broncos can play into that. And I think that's what you're banking on, you're riding on. So I think.
Yeah, it's not that they can; it's that they literally need to. I think that's the only way they win the game.
And that's fine. I think. I don't think in terms of logic or reason, I see why the Patriots, in terms of on paper at this point, in logic, they have the quarterback who's an MVP not front runner, but in the MVP conversation, probably is going to end up second. At that point, he was second team All Pro. So in terms of that. And they're well coached as well, but I'm just putting my money where the money is. So I got Broncos. It's simple
This
as
feels
that.
like a pick you're making with your gut and your heart. And
That's what
not
I did
with
last
any
week.
sort of like rhyme or reason. I mean, you're telling people to put their rent on Jared Stidham. I
Yeah.
hope you're hearing yourself. Like he hasn't
I'm
thrown
not.
an NFL pass in 3 years.
I'm not a financial advisor.
Where were you 3 years ago? What were you doing?
Not on this couch, but that doesn't matter.
and-
I took the Broncos last week, and we see how it paid off. Okay, so if you wanna win games, if you wanna risk it for the biscuit, you're gonna take the Broncos. And if they lose, we all knew it was probably coming.
If they lose, you gotta dispute the charge, man. I don't know.
Yeah, actually, just so we know, do not listen to us when it comes to betting.
Listen to me.
He has like $2 to his name. Don't listen to him.
We got the Rams going into Seattle Sunday at 6:30 Eastern. The Rams are a 2.5 underdog. Who do you got?
I got the Seahawks. Everyone knows how I feel about the Seahawks and Mike McDonald and his team. They looked really good against the 49ers. Outside of like the barring, like crazy, kickoff return off the first play. That's probably not going to happen again. So the game won't really get out of hand. But it could.
Rams special team is poor.
Yeah, Rashid Shaheed is kind of like that. Like disregarding any like crazy outlier things. I just like the Seahawks as a whole. I like their defense. I like their offense. I like their play calling, their coaching staff. I think their defense can keep them in the game. You're gonna get a shootout regardless. I feel like.
I don't know.
Maybe not shootout, but it's gonna be like 27-23. I think it's probably gonna be around the final score. And I don't know. I think Sam Darnold has been good overall. Losing Charbonnet does hurt a lot. But they might get Arroyo back, who's another tight end who kind of supports that theme of 12 personnel, heavy personnel. Can run the game or run the ball, going into the passing, play action. I think that offense can really do numbers for them, and the defense is obviously going to keep things in check for them. So I got Seahawks, and I got their spread on top of that to cover 2.5.
I hate that I got to agree with you. I mean, I guess my key to the game would be Nick Emanwari. He's so versatile. He reminds me of Kyle Hamilton. Just because of him alone, you can sit in nickel, which makes you so versatile against the pass while still defending the run so well. Seattle only blitzes 27% of the time, which is 27th in the league, and their pressure. So they don't blitz a lot. But when they do, their pressure rate is 52%. And Matt Stafford against the Bears, they blitzed a lot that game, but they were getting to him. He looked like not himself under siege. I think that the Seahawks will be opportunistic when they blitz. I think they'll be calculated. I think they're going to show some looks that the Rams haven't seen. It's going to be hard to defend that. And Nick Emanwari, man, good in the pass. He's good blitzing. He's good defending the run. Like, he's just a dog.
The sim pressures that Mike McDonald brings is like second to none. It's like Brian
Super
Flores
creative.
type of level. And I think people, or not people, but it's well known that if you want to win with like not bad pass rush, because they have a good pass rush, but if you want to get to the quarterback in convenient ways, you're going to do sim pressures. And Mike McDonald dials those up usually at the perfect time, and they're usually hard to stop too.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, a simulated pressure is just when you're still blitzing 4, but you're sending a different player like a linebacker or a safety, and then you're replacing them with like a defensive end or a D tackle who drops into coverage. So you get that simulated like it's a blitz, and the O line is confused, but you still get the the 8 in coverage or the 7 in coverage that helps with the pass.
Way to explain ball for people that don't inherently know that. I appreciate that on your part.
And then the Rams, I mean, they have the second fewest tackles for loss against the run, and Seattle loves to run. But I guess on the flip side, any team in the playoffs, if you have to travel into Seattle, the Rams are probably one of the best coached teams in the league. You have Matt Stafford, who's been there and he's done that. So if you were to say, like, Matt Stafford just has the game of his life, Puka, who's an elite run blocker, is setting the edge, or, he's just getting vertical, and Devontae Adams has a game, like, I could believe you. I could buy that.
I can see like it comes down to a couple of throws that like only a guy like Matt Stafford. What we saw last week in the Bears game.
That Devontae Adams throw, oh my goodness.
Like a 13-yard out route on the time on the dot.
Other hash.
And you get into field goal range and they kick the ball and win it. I can see that happening, but my gut and my brain tells me Seattle. Do you have any other?
I mean, I guess the one thing I didn't talk about is Sam Darnold. The games are won and lost on third downs. Do you trust Sam Darnold to make the right read? Obviously, the first game they had, he looked like he was seeing ghosts in New York again. The second game they had, he was much better, but the special team stepped up. So it really just depends what brand of Sam Darnold are you getting, and can Kenneth Walker, take the volume that he's going to get most likely? Like, can he handle the increase?
Do we know if they have a second running back on roster now? Because I remember episode 1 we were talking about it. They have no running backs. Everyone's either on IR or out for the season.
Honestly, I don't know. Maybe we need to look that up later. But it's going to be an interesting game. I'm excited to watch as a neutral fan. If I was a fan of either of these teams, I would not be pleased. Obviously, I do have Seattle winning, but I think this is one of those games that's like, it's hard to predict a game script with two masterminds of like for head coaches. I mean, for all we know, like the Rams could just go in there and pound the rock and it could work. Like I don't know. So I got Seattle. I got them covering 2.5 at home. But I feel like Sam Darnold's due for one of those crazy Sam Darnold disaster classes. So I don't know.
All right. Well, those are our picks here. If anyone's keeping score at home, I'm 2-2 on the money line spread picks. I got screwed by the 49ers. I could have been 3-1. And our man over here, he is 0 for 4 to start our picks. Obviously, this is just like a little sampler run. We'll get cooking next year, next NFL season.
And I can explain myself. So, if we're being honest, Coleridge.
0 for 4.
What's his last name? Coleridge.
Coleridge Bernard did screw everybody
Coleridge
over.
Bernard is not something I took into my account. I didn't take any notes on him not wanting to win, him not wanting to be there, him having his vacation plans already set and scheduled, so he didn't want to play another game. I didn't know that. If that had been released to the public before the game, I would have betted accordingly. I didn't know that Josh Allen was going to say, you know what, Denver, here's 3 points before half. You know what, Denver, I'm going to miss Dawson Knox. I'm going to be trash. I didn't know that. They didn't release that to the public. I don't know if you signed up for the newsletter. I didn't get that.
I did.
I'm sure.
I stamped it, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure. All right, next topic.
Anyways, moving on, we are going to start to get into some early talks of first-round draft picks for our Steelers and our Ravens. We're kind of getting to that draft season, that prospect season. You're starting to see seniors and like draft prospects declare for the draft. You've been seeing mock drafts. Hopefully in the next couple episodes, we'll do like a full mock draft for our teams. We'll probably do a live, throw it up on the screen. That'll be fun. But we're just going to talk about some targets that we like and what we aim for. Do you want to go first?
Sure, man. I mean, it's a wide receiver, quarterback, or your
What pick do you guys have?
21.
Okay.
So it's going to be a wide receiver, a quarterback, or your Cam Hayward replacement. Depending on what happens with him, we don't know. Obviously, Mekhi Lemon is a name that you like to think about, but I don't think he drops to 21. Ty Simpson, if you look at any mock draft, you're going to see Ty Simpson to the Steelers. He ran a pro-style offense at Bama. I mean, I guess he's better than Will Howard. You're just in an interesting situation right now. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, Will Howard has his struggles, but he's more NFL size, and who knows. And then Peter Woods, like the Cam Hayward replacement, like from Clemson. That I see us going one of those three directions, and that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, I got a few names that I'll list off, especially since we're in a more premium spot to draft this draft cycle. We have the 14th pick. I got a few names out here. Yeah.
We should have just lost week 8.
I'm trying to tell you, bro.
We should have just.
We both on the couch, so you might as well just get the better draft pick. So I got a few names I'm gonna throw out. I got Peter Woods as well. I got Mekhi Lemon as well. I'll speak on their stats and stuff and who I think they are as prospects. But other names I got Caden McDonald. He's like the other high overall prospect, interior D lineman. He's from Ohio State. I got Rumored Bain, probably not falling realistically, but I think
Absolutely not.
But in a world where EDC might trade up, again, I'm curious and really critical of what EDC does this offseason, especially not attached to John Harbaugh, how aggressive he is, how willing he is to go in on like young talent, especially with now Minter confirmed in the building. I'm curious on how much Minter has influence on what he looks for in the defense and how young they go and how cheap they go in terms of defense, especially if he can get a lot out of young talent and vets anyways on cheaper contracts. Vega Iona, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he's the interior lineman out of Penn State, which is like the biggest name in terms of who gets linked to the Ravens. He falls perfectly in the 14th spot. And then I got Francis Mayoga. I probably should have wrote the pronunciation, so sorry. I'm definitely butchering these guys' names. But he's the O tackle out of Miami. All these guys, I think, have a realistic shot of being drafted by the Ravens. If I were to put like my prediction of who we go, with the situation that we have with Matabike right now, I think we go one of the two interior D linemen with either Peter Woods or Caden McDonald. I think they'll substitute what he does at a really well rate. I think Peter Woods gets crazy interior pressure, kind of what Matabike did for us in that role in terms of like on passing downs, and he's a good run stuffer. Both of them are. So I like both of those. If you want to go with a better run stuffer who doesn't have a well developed pass specialist move set, I'd probably go with Caden McDonald. He gets in the backfield a lot more. He's a little bit bigger. And he produces more tackles for loss in their senior years or in their previous years. So I think that's something to look out for. I like Mekhi Lemon. I just don't know how well that would mesh with what our receiver core looks like right now. I'm not knocking that you can't
Your
have
receiving
good.
core is horrible.
It's better than yours.
I honestly disagree.
Well,
As crazy as that sounds. But
who's your highest receiver, like in terms of yards? Who's your best? Who led in receptions? Was that a running back?
Kenneth Gainwell.
Okay, back to my point. I like Mekhi Lemon a lot. I just don't know how well that meshes. I don't know if they move off Rashad Bateman this year, so I wouldn't necessarily want to go wide receiver in the first round, but he's talented nonetheless. He was Biletnikoff winner, so adding talent anywhere helps out. Giving Lamar more weapons helps out, especially if you got a guy like Isaiah Likely who's most likely going to walk, and you're losing one more receiving threat that you had going into the year last year. I think that's a good name, but I think we go Ira Peter Woods or Caden McDonald, but a name that I do like if we get super duper aggressive and trade up, if he starts to fall a little bit more, and depending on how the combine goes and stuff, would be Ruben Bain. I like him a lot.
He's not dropping.
He could.
He just literally won't, unless he has a heart attack at the combine. But it's also Denzel Boston and Casey Concepcion for the Steelers. Like it's probably gonna be a wide receiver. But
I was about to say
take Ty Simpson.
I'm saying you listed Mekhi Lemon. He's not dropping to 21, like for
Hey,
certain.
Man, let that guy run a 4.8 at the combine, and we'll welcome you.
If he runs a 4.8, no team's ever picking him up ever again, especially at 5'9". But regardless, those are just some names that we're throwing out right now. Obviously, we'll get into more depth as the weeks are coming, especially with with the draft and stuff, or the combine and stuff coming up. So a lot of fun stuff to talk about in the future. But moving on to our final topic, and then we might spitball a little bit. It's one of our more nuanced topics that we like to talk about. We're going to try to start talking about something that isn't strictly directly averted to ball, but it's ball adjacent. So we're talking about how the mainstream media kind of handles their debate shows. When you see shows like ESPN, when you see shows like First Take, how they debate, and when they're talking about QB play or when they're talking about big names, how they're almost taking the team aspect out of the debate itself, and they're just relying solely on the egocentric of the greatness of a player and how it diminishes or praises the quarterback, and why the QB is the most impacted. So I'll let Myles lead off first on what his thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Stephen A. Smith did irreversible damage to our sports media. I think hot take culture is pretty nasty. I mean, it was fun for a while, like in 2016, like getting the takes off was fun, but now it's like
getting like every meme pic of the quote in hand with the picture is always funny.
I want Iguodala. Like we had our times, man, but
yeah,
nowadays it's like, geez, like there's just no actual X's and O's. There's no actual like discourse about anything. It's just like
what
Josh Allen didn't win with Mahomes and Lamar out, which I mean it's fair in itself, but Mahomes and Lamar aren't there for a reason. Like we're more on Josh Allen for making the playoffs and not making the Super Bowl. Lamar's team was healthy. He did miss 5 weeks, but Lamar had a chance to make the playoffs. But Mahomes didn't have his best year. I mean, he had no help, and Rashee Rice is probably going to jail, and Xavier Worthy
he needs to go to jail.
His shoulder, and Travis Kelce.
He needs to go to jail. Oh my!
But I say that to say, I mean, I think at the end of the day that NFL is more of a team sport than most other sports, and it's not like one person can really claw you to a Super Bowl the same way like a Luka can bring the Mavericks to a finals, or LeBron can go to 9 straight. And like in 2018, that team had no business in the finals, and it's literally LeBron. But in the NFL, you don't see that. Like it's not the same, and it's easy to talk about it like it is, but and the quarterback matchups are fun to put on the posters and the headlines and the Instagrams, but it's like that. There's much more to the sport, and there's so much more nuance to what makes a team good. I think we're seeing that this year. Like we got Bo Nix and now Jarrett Stidham in a conference championship. We got Drake May, a second or third year player, in a conference championship. It's like Sam Darnold is on the consensus like best team in the league. Like it's so much more than just your quarterback.
Yeah, no, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think it's all about clicks and what drives home engagement at this point in time. The reason why we love football in as a whole is because it's a small sample size. You get 17 to 20 or 21 games or whatever it is to play football. It's not like basketball. It's not like baseball when you get into the playoffs and you got 7 games to state your case until you move on to the next round. Once you get into the playoffs in football, it's one and done. So the sample size is small, and I think that encourages a lot of bad faith arguments. And I think whatever drives the point home for listeners to engage is what really drives the point home. Making up stats like head to head when it comes to QB play. Yeah. Quarterbacks don't play against each other. They're playing against the opposing defense. Like, it's not Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. It's the Baltimore Ravens versus the Buffalo Bills. It's not Patrick Mahomes versus, our in terms of legacy talk. That's when you get into like who had a better legacy. But when it gets to the current state of what we're looking at and what we're engaging in, it's 22 guys on the field plus the coaching staff plus the special teams plus everything that's going on. It's a culmination of team sports, and when we try to pit against elite athletes play against each other, I think it displaces the significance of team play and what it really means to get 12 guys or 11 guys on the field at once to create a first down or create a touchdown and have success on the field.
Because Lamar didn't drop that 2-point conversion.
No, like
Lamar didn't reach for the goal line and get it punched out by L'Jarius Sneed.
Exactly, you see it all the time.
But it's fun to talk about him like he did sometimes.
Yeah, no, bad faith. It's always fun, especially when you're messing around with the guys. I love bad faith argument, but when it comes down to the nitty gritty of it, I feel like, especially with quarterbacks, they make the most money. They're going to be your icon figures. So, of course, you want to be able to put them up on a poster and pit up against each other. But that's just not how football works. That's not the reality of it. And I feel like when you take away team aspect and you some fans literally discourage their own greatness. Like, you'll see Bills fans all the time say they got Costco guys in the wide receiver room or like whatever the case may be. And even though they might not have the best wide receivers in the league, they still produce top 5 offenses year in and year out, even if that's influenced heavily by a guy like Josh Allen. And when we see Patrick Mahomes and when we see Matt Stafford, of course they have a play in it because they're the quarterback and they're great. But it still takes 10 more other guys and a coaching staff and a scheme and a system and camaraderie to build what we have. So I don't know. That's kind of how I feel about it. I kind of want to get back to being able to analyze what a team does and what that means in terms of the significance of what that looks like, and that's what we're here for. But yeah, no, that's our take on that. You got anything else that you want to shoot out there?
No, I think that pretty much wraps it up. I guess the one thing I will say is the Steelers quarterback situation next year is about as nasty as it can get, and some guys I believe will probably be taking snaps. One of Geno Smith. If he gets released, Justin Fields, who probably will get released, Ty Simpson if you draft him, and then I guess my doomsday scenario would be Will Howard, who's never taken an NFL snap, or Mason Rudolph could be my starting quarterback. So
that's a lot of nasty names you list off. I didn't think that was possible. What we can get into real quick, Jacob. What time are we at right now? 37. It's a short episode. I do want to get into real quick, if you don't mind. Our official picks on camera for finalist awards, so like the MVP, because we haven't spoken about that on camera yet. If you want to get into that real quick,
you can start us off, but I guess we can both go back and forth.
Yeah,
MVP I think is going to be Stafford, and I think he did play a bad last couple weeks of the season, but his counting stats are nuts, and that offense is ridiculous. So I think it is deserved.
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly with the Stafford pick. I think the league would put themselves at a glaring spot, and fans would really be skeptical. This would be the second year in a row that the second team All-Pro quarterback would win the award. It's kind of like it's hypocritical to say that you vote this guy as the best quarterback in the league for all-pro reasons, and then you give the MVP to the other guy. That's kind of disingenuous as well. So the NFL is probably going to, correct their wrongs from last year. They're probably going to go with the first team All-Pro Matt Stafford, and I agree with Drake May had an astonishing year. He did really well. The Patriots wouldn't be where they are without him. But I think Matt Stafford's due for an MVP. He's deserving of an MVP. Winning an MVP in year 13 is he in now?
Yeah. First MVP.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful story to be had, and I think that boasts up his legacy in terms of how we think about him, being in the Lions purgatory for all of his career, and then he gets to go to sunny, bright LA West Coast, and then he starts winning rings, winning MVPs. It's beautiful. So I got him as the MVP winner.
Who's your OPOY?
OPOY, it's coming down to JSN or Puka.
It's been that for a long time.
It's been that for a long time. Shout out CMC though. CMC had a hell of a year.
Yeah, he's the gadget player of the year, whatever that means.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it is new.
Wow.
It is now.
Okay.
I think the betting odds would suggest it's JSN, but you can really flip a coin. I mean, both of those guys are so impactful on their teams. I think what Puka does in the run game, like he's a dominant run blocker. He's one of the best I've seen since like Hines Ward. So
yeah,
I mean, you really can't go wrong. I'd probably give it to Puka, but I think in the regular season, JSN probably produced a little bit more with less. I mean, they passed like the 32nd most in the league. So.
Yeah, no. MVP awards get a little funky sometimes. We got guys like Dan Orlovsky getting quality or accounts for MVP votes. So I don't know, but I feel like one of the big things that if I were an MVP voter that I would account for is that JSN led the league in receiving yards, and he's on the 32nd passing offense in terms of attempts. That's mind-boggling stuff in terms of like how you get that much production out of a guy. You telling me I passed the ball the least and I got the leading receiver in yards? That means he's explosive. That means he wins his routes. That means he can get open down the field, in the middle of the field, in short field. And in terms of what he was doing at a point, you shouldn't correlate betting odds or like betting stats or betting props to how good of a player is, or fantasy to how good of a player is. But just to put it in hindsight or in layman's terms, his receiving line was 99.5, like 8 or 9 weeks in a row. The odds were like minus like 200. They were literally saying that he's going to get 100 yards this game. Do something about it. You're going to lose money if you bet on it. And I think saying that is just impressive nonetheless. So I got JSN as my OPOY.
And then offensive rookie of the year, I guess Jackson Dart.
I got Tet. I don't know. I felt like Tet had a really good year. 1,000-yard receiver on the Panthers offense, as you drafted him 4th overall to be your guy. And I don't know. I felt like Jackson Dart was a little hurt too much. I felt like he did have bright spots this year, but he didn't wow me. But I felt like when you looked at Tet and over the culmination of his rookie year, he had some. I think he really developed as a route runner. I didn't really know how well his route running would have fleshed out.
He can separate.
Yeah, he can separate well. He can get open downfield. He can contested catch. He can body catch. He can win in intermediate routes. So I like Tet for rookie of the year.
I guess DPOY we can make quick. I mean, it's Myles Garrett. Congrats, Jacob.
Yeah, sack.
I'm glad you just admitted it. Like,
yeah, he had to.
I know you're gonna say it.
It was undeniable. Getting the sack record is sack record. That's all you got to say. It's Myles Garrett.
And then coach of the year, I think that becomes a more interesting conversation.
And then I think we have defensive rookie of the year too.
Who cares?
I got Schlesinger.
I got Nick Eamon-Worry, but I think it'll probably be Carson Schlesinger.
Yeah.
I guess, coach of the year is going to be Liam Cohen, Ben Johnson, Mike McDonald, Kyle Shanahan, or Mike Vrabel.
That's a load. I don't remember.
It's one of the best I've ever seen in terms of like.
I don't.
You got a legit argument for all 5 guys.
Yeah, I don't remember the competitive coach of the year awards over the last few years. That's a stack lineup. I feel like any one of those guys deserves like the praise that they get.
Yeah. I mean, Kyle Shanahan won't win, but I think this is the most impressed I've been with him as a coach in his tenure with the Niners.
Mm-hmm.
Liam Cohen, he probably also won't win, but the turnaround that they had with the Jaguars and the Trevor Lawrence, like, actually living up to his hype finally is insane. I think Ben Johnson, Mike McDonald, and Vrabel are the real, like, actual contenders for winning. And I think it goes to Vrabel. I think the Patriots were poverty before he got there. He's really he's really righted the ship. The defense is coached so well. They play so hard. And Drake May is just like the least problematic guy. Or, sorry, Drake May. Is just, he's exactly what you want out of a quarterback. They're a good team, and they're probably going to the Super Bowl.
I like the pick. I don't think you could really go wrong outside of, not wrong, but like I wouldn't pick Kyle Shanahan just for how stacked the rest of the field is. But shout out Kyle Shanahan. My pick would probably be Mike McDonald, just because when you just because when you look at the history of coaches of the year, they usually give it to a 1C guy. They usually give it to a guy that when you think about the team and the engine that they build,
not usually give it to a 1C guy.
I mean,
Kevin Stefanski has 2.
That's fair. That's a fair point. But I was thinking of the John Harbaughs, the Kevin O'Connells, even like a Kyle Shanahan, like before him, Sean McVay. They usually give it to, more times than not, a 1C guy. But there's been instances like Stefanski or something like that. But with the history of it, knowing it all, just what Mike Macdonald has been able to do with that defense, what he's been able to do with Sam Darnold and Geno Smith over the past 2 years, even though he's not calling offensive plays, like that's still his coaching staff. Overall, you got the 1 seed. You're on the cusp of the Super Bowl. Playoffs aren't included into it, but I got Mike Macdonald as my coach of the year.
Bears. I think that pretty much wraps it up for today.
Yeah.
Come back player of the year. What do you think?
Oh, isn't that just Diggs?
Probably. Who's the list? Do you know?
It's Diggs, Hutchinson, Trevor Lawrence, McCaffrey, and Dak.
Say that one more time.
Well, I guess it's McCaffrey then. It's Dak, CMC, Trevor Lawrence, Aiden Hutchinson, and Stephon Diggs. I guess Diggs did tear his ACL.
Yeah.
What did CMC miss?
CMC probably.
Oh, he was the whole year with his Achilles. Was that last year?
Was it last year? I thought he played last year.
Maybe I'm tripping. Well, I don't know why he's comeback player of the year then.
Comeback and play year's gotten so like just grayish on like what
Just
defines
what
a
good
comeback.
player got hurt last year, pretty much.
Like technically, it's now like I could come off the couch and start playing NFL football, and now I'm comeback player of the year.
Shout out Joe Flacco.
I love Joe Flacco. Something about Joe Flacco. Or it's a guy who has a significant horrific injury and then comes back and plays. So the definition of it gets a little shoddy. Out of the names that you listed, in terms of like the definition of it, probably Aiden Hutchinson. He
had the most gruesome injury, probably.
Yeah.
For sure.
And what he was able to do this year and just the production he was able to put out was, comeback player of the year worthy. But in terms of who will probably win it, it'll probably be CMC just because it's
They gotta give him
CMC.
something.
Yeah, it's CMC. He's offensive dog, and what he's able to do is
It'll
just
probably be Burrow next year.
probably it's every other year now. So. But yeah, I mean, that basically wraps it up. I thank you guys for tuning in to episode 2. Probably episode 3 will probably get into a little bit more deep dive into like the mock drafts a little bit heavier, or maybe the Steelers have a head coach by then. That'll be the big talking point.
If my prediction's right, we will. If the Rams lose, which I guess I am a little biased, if the Rams lose, we likely hire Shula that Monday.
Allegedly. Could be Mike McCarthy.
Let's be serious. So that's my hope.
Yeah, but we'll see you guys next time. Thank you for tuning in. You guys take care and enjoy. See you guys real soon.
Peace.